Hi guys, my name's Kaylee, and today we're going to be talking about the importance marijuana has on the economy, and this is addressed to state lawmakers. So, what is marijuana and why would a drug be legalized? So, marijuana refers to the dried leaves, flowers, stems, and seeds of the cannabis sativa or the cannabis indica plant. And the difference between sativa and indica is sativa is more of an energetic, stimulating high, and indica is more of like a relaxed body high stimulation. So the plant contains a mind-altering chemical called tetrahydrocannabinol, otherwise THC for short, which I'm sure you've heard about. Marijuana can be smoked through a joint, pipe, water vapor, water pipe, otherwise known as a bong, or inhaled through a vaporizer, which is one of the most commonly used forms of marijuana currently. And more than 55 million Americans smoke marijuana on a regular basis, whether legally or illegally. And this is actually a really shocking number to most because this is almost as many cigarette smokers there are regularly in the world, which is 59 million. And there's also 35 million people in the world who smoke even more regularly on a multiple weekly basis. So the legalization of recreational marijuana could have very large impacts on the economy by increasing tax revenue, income, jobs, and investment opportunities. Tax revenue, that's what we're going to discuss right now. Over $1.7 million in marijuana sales in Colorado and Washington in 2019, which from this they collected over $302 million in taxes and fees from the sales. U.S. sales are projected to increase by $31.1 billion in 2024. And that's just a really small fraction of the money that is stimulating this economy. The legal marijuana industry has contributed more than $80 million to the local economy thus far. So, federally legalized marijuana could substantially increase the GDP. In other words, for every $1 consumers spend on marijuana at a dispensary or a recreational store, an additional $2.50 of economic value will be directly injected back into the economy, which is wonderful. Marijuana dispensaries also pay hundreds of million dollars worth of taxes every year, which, like I said, are pumped directly back into the economy. Next, we're going to discuss incomes and jobs. Marijuana dispensaries would be the first step for a state to vote in favor of if marijuana was legalized. And cannabis directly employs more than 245,000 full-time workers in the United States. Last year alone, the industry added more than 64,000 jobs, which is a 44% increase. 15% labor increases happened in just 12 months with only our main dispensary states and legalization states of California, Washington, Oregon, Massachusetts, and Colorado. There's a projected $3.5 billion increase in labor income, and professional marijuana industry workers actually make an average wage of $58,000, which is almost 11% higher than the U.S. median. Finally, we're going to discuss investment, which is one of the most wonderful things about this uprising industry. Legal marijuana presents the possibility of tremendous benefits to the economy on a local and also a national scale. So, federally legalizing marijuana would enhance the liquidation and open up access to way more investors. And if growth continues, investors would recognize this and see it as a very, very keen interest for them. So, marijuana investment opportunities contain growers, distributors, extraction service providers, drug developers, and service providers. So, growers are essentially like farmers of marijuana. They grow and harvest the marijuana for sales. Distributors give the cannabis to dispensaries to sell, so make sure it's clean, organized, things like that. Extractors extract CBD and THC from the marijuana leaf for other sources and types of products. So whether they be edibles or lotions or anything like that. Also, drug developers are like cannabis biotechs and pharmaceutical developers that develop cannabis products for multiple medical reasons and also develop other forms that can be taken with the marijuana. And finally, we have service providers, which are essentially just product developers and supply dispensers. So they might provide greenhouses or forms to smoke marijuana, like bowls and safe vaporizers, things like that. So just to kind of wrap it up, the benefits of marijuana. So marijuana is really, really helpful with any sort of pain issues, so chronic pain. And one of the most common forms and reasons to use marijuana is depression, PTSD, and social anxiety. Marijuana can also help with cancer pain and nausea and things after chemotherapy. Multiple sclerosis is also a very painful disease that marijuana can help with. And epilepsy. Marijuana can help bring you down from epileptic seizures or even prevent them. So, final thoughts and questions. Do you personally know an individual who smokes marijuana? If so, how often? Why should we pass up on such an economic enriching opportunity? If we can collect more money from taxes, increase stocks and trades, what's the reason not to? So I think it's time to make a change, and let's vote for legalization laws. Finally, these are my sources, and I just want to say thank you for listening. It was a pleasure.